All right, so cold reading, Forer effect, Barnum effect. The age-old thing that Myers-Briggs has been trying to deal with, since the beginning, is that science is constantly kicking their ass. And Myers-Briggs, if you look on the pseudoscience wiki page, it's on the same page of a whole bunch of other crazy stuff, including tinfoil hats and astrology, which I think you need a tinfoil hat if you're seriously into astrology. Come on now, you got to be safe. It causes a lot of tension with people. You got the, the Vox video that came out a few years ago. Everybody freaked out. And so what do you do with that? The Myers-Briggs stuff in particular is one of the biggest nests of cold reading, Barnum effect stuff, where you have these profiles that are very kind of vague and positive and they can apply to almost anybody. What do you do with that? How do you know what's right and what's wrong? All right, so let's get into the scientific side for the rest of this little class here. So people that are committing to this scientific approach, you got to play by a different set of rules. Anecdotal thinking comes naturally. Science requires training. So goddamn true. Science is not going to be fun because you got to stay by a strict set of rules. You got to define your terms, you got to run falsifiable experiments, and you got to be working with other people. And that just wipes everybody out right there. The quotes that I have here are from a video I have linked down below. Darren Brown, and somebody does this every few years, at NBC News or Darren Brown, will get a group of people together and tell them, hey, do you believe in astrology and personality profiles and all this pseudoscience stuff? And everyone's like, yay! They're like, well, we're going to do a professional thing and we're going to see if it's really real, and you get to be the test subjects. They're like, yay! They run them through like a fake test so people think it's real, and then they hand everybody the same personality profile. And then everybody goes away in the little corner and reads it privately and goes, oh my gosh, this is totally me. How did you even know? I finally feel like you understand me. This helps me so much. Look at all these great details. This is totally me, 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 me. And then at the end they go, haha, suckers, we give everyone the same personality profile. You're a bunch of dopes. And they're like, oh, thanks. Thanks a lot. Right there on TV. I really appreciate that. What you see is that because it's not a strict diligence to the scientific method, you get a lot of this Barnum effect written into these materials. Why? Because unless you have set up very strong, rigid, diligent standards to keep that stuff out, it will always creep in. Think about like Trent Reznor. You listen to his songs, you're like, oh my God, this guy's talking to me. This is exactly how I feel, especially growing up, right? Every word that your favorite artist is saying, you feel like they're speaking directly to you. And it's almost like, depending on who you are, you're almost like annoyed when they're like somebody you don't like. They're like, I also like Trent Reznor. Like, fuck you. Same with personality profiles. You find out somebody who's the same type as you, but you hate them, you're like, damn it, that wrecks my type. So this is something natural and normal in all of us. You're going to be projecting yourself on the goddamn movie screen when you're watching a movie. When you read anything, you're projecting yourself into it. And then somebody writes a profile that says it's for you. It's feeding candy to a baby. Your body cannot help but react and go, oh my God, it's me. Look here down, for example, at the, this is just this ENTP profile. Look at the comments here. Hit, right on, wow, 100%, this is so accurate, so true, totally me, wow, that explains some things, spot on. See? The natural human response. Are all those people there ENTPs? No. But does it matter? No. Look, this is just some kid in his room, probably having a really hard time in life, and he found something on the internet that he can relate to. Great. Leave him alone. If that helps move him in the right direction, even though it's not perfect, I'd say keep reading it, homie. Now, if you want to make a scientific career out of this, you're eventually going to have to let that go. You're going to eventually have to outgrow the anecdotes and the profiles and, oh my God, it's me, and oh, I got such a great feeling from this and a real good boost. Again, the NFJ, what's called the NFJ approach, they really help people get going. But if you're going to make the long term, you do need the science. So, pulling this all together, what to say when the scientists come and start bothering you and saying, hey, this stuff isn't scientific, and your Myers-Briggs and your Enneagram and all your bullshit, it's not trackable, it's not really like, yeah, probably. But you know what, it helps me out a lot. That's going to shut them up. How are they going to fucking argue with that? Just own it. But then also on the other side, own the negativity that comes with if you just stay in the subjective, positive emotions, get you going, that doesn't play out long term. Eventually, and this is what I'm also seeing with my NFJ friends as well. So now that he's getting older, he's like, I would like to get something a little bit more solid. I'm kind of getting a little burned out with all the happy parties. And to own the science game, it's very simple, but it's very hard. There are set rules in science, and you have to study them, you have to practice them, you have to master them. Number one, you got to define your terms. Number two, you got to run falsifiable experiments. How can you set up something that can be checked if it's right or wrong? Not that you're really convinced. That's what everybody does. And then number three, you got to have the team review. You can't be the one checking it. You're going to smudge it. You're going to cheat. You got to have the team checking you, and you're checking your teammates. You start building on those habits, you now can start bringing something to a larger team, and you're moving your way up the scientific ladder.